Now, whether it's heat-stopping play in cricket, golf courses disappearing into the sea, or winter sports venues struggling to survive, climate change looks set to impact the sporting world in much the same way it will other areas of life. So for tonight's focus on climate change, we've joined forces with BBC Sport, who are running a special project called Sport 2050, in which they look at the possible future impacts of climate change and current efforts to avoid them. Here's Alex Capstick.
Cricket, more than most sports, is defined by the weather. But there's a stark warning. In some parts of the world, playing the game may become impossible. Experts predict it will simply be too hot.
In Melbourne, the Boxing Day Test cricket match gets underway at the start of the Australian summer, where we could increasingly hear the phrase, heat stops play. Temperatures exceeding a threshold of 31 degrees Celsius and a humidity of more than 50% would lead to interruptions in play at the end of December 2050, on average 7 days out of 21, up from 5 days now.
This forecast from the Met Office is a scientific projection for sport. And while there's always uncertainty and a margin for error, the trend is clear. And so are the implications. In January 2018, the England captain Joe Root battled at the crease to save a test match in high Sydney temperatures. He got ill. Since then, he and England have made hydration a priority on tour. He says the sport can adapt to climate change to an extent.
It is scary to think that the game as it is right now might not be the case in even 30 years' time, so hopefully there's things that can be done. I'm sure we'll have to keep looking to evolve and develop as a sport and as players as well, and one of the things that we will have to take attention to is being able to manage the heat as best we can and find ways of still being able to perform in those conditions.
Chamonix in France was where the Winter Olympics began in the 1920s. By 2050, it's predicted as many as 9 cities which have hosted the Games will be struggling to survive as winter sport venues. Artificial snow will only go so far. Maddie Phaneuf competes for the USA in the biathlon. She's also a climate change activist.
It's going to be starting to get worse and worse with where we can even race or what countries can host Olympics with snow. So that's the scary part, I guess, is just seeing the change and kind of realizing that it's just going to continue getting worse if we don't make a difference.
Here on the east coast of Scotland, the rising sea level is accelerating coastal erosion. Some of the world's oldest golf territory is crumbling into the sea. At St Andrews, the home of golf, they've already built artificial dunes to protect the revered links course. Clubs everywhere are being encouraged to become more aware of the issues. But perhaps the biggest impact is from those who've played at the highest level. Norway's Suzanne Pettersen is a 2-time major winner and now a sustainable golf ambassador.
Well, I just think sport is a great arena for the athletes to kind of speak their mind or to at least bring awareness to the topic. What do you do as an athlete? Yeah, you're disciplined, you're determined, you commit to the goals that you want to achieve, and that's kind of maybe where us athletes can help.
Sport's one vital ingredient is that people tend to care about it, especially football. Its high profile is a potential weapon against climate change, and some of the world's biggest clubs have signed up to the United Nations Sport for Climate Action. A new young generation of professional sportsmen and women are also striving to make a difference. Joe Cook's beginning his cricket career with Glamorgan in Wales. At university, he wrote his dissertation on cricket and climate change.
Athletes actually want to act, so if we're trying to create a group of athletes that can go around and help their organisations they're involved with and create those kind of stories as look what this cricketer, look what this footballer has done for sustainability, and create those positive stories around that.
So in sport there is recognition that action is needed. The race, as ever, is against time.
Alex Capstick reporting. Just time for our closing.